Welcome to the Patriots Prayer Network. Here, we don't just play to your feelings. We're rooted in honesty, and our foundation is based on Christian values, conservative beliefs, and a no-holds-barred approach. So, if your feelings clash with reality, it's not reality that needs adjusting. Are you ready to be part of a movement that challenges the official narratives, confronts the overwhelming tide of misinformation, and calls out wrongdoing wherever we find it? If so, you're in the right place. See, truth is our compass, and God is our only judge. Right and wrong mean more to us here at the Patriots Prayer Network than right and left do, and a complacent blind acceptance of the status quo will not be found here. We do not believe things are this bad in our country merely by accident. So, we investigate and dive deep into each episode and tackle pressing issues head on. Many podcasts claim they are unfiltered, but we mean it here. Go to thepatriotsprayernetwork.com.
How you doing, guys? Mike here from To The Point with Eddie on the Patriots Prayer Network.
So, guys, we're kicking it off here, like doing a lot more of these reaction videos. And so you're going to see Mike and me and a lot of the guys from PPN get together, and we're going to react to some of this stuff that we haven't heard. I was late coming to like the Tom MacDonald thing, right? I was very late. I've been out of like kind of the in crowd for music, new stuff for a long time. I got stuck. I was one of those kids, you remember you're a kid and your mom and dad were listening to the old stuff and you were listening to new things like, and you said you would never become that person, right? You would never be that person. You weren't going to let stuff just pass you by and all that, but you do. You get to a point where you find a decade you like and you stick with it. And just happens that way, man. But Tom is a breath of fresh air. And in a world that's as unpatriotic as it is, and try to make it be cool in a world that celebrates drugs and celebrates gangsters and celebrates thuggery and celebrates anti-Americanism and celebrates just terrible things. There, everything that is, against American values, everything that's against God. They celebrate those things. And along comes Tom, who is the exact opposite. He's saying all the good things, all the right things, fighting for everything good, and he's controversial.
Yep.
But Cardi B's fine. Cardi B's fine. You can have Megan Thee Stallion twerking on stage at a Kamala rally with your little kids watching, your baby in diapers fucking twerking in the stands just right along with it. But that's cool. That's cool. Before long, what's next? Is the left just gonna just get thong diapers? I don't know. These people have no morals, bro. None.
No,
they have none. So Tom is a breath of fresh air, and Adam is just one of those people that speaks his mind. We were blessed to get an interview with Jam Wayne. You know Jam Wayne?
I don't think I do.
Jam Wayne is hard, brother. He's our age, from like Alabama, right? And he's used to work in nuclear facilities and that sort of thing, and he went on to become a rapper. Full beard, looks like your typical biker guy, right? And his lyrical is all hell. And he did a song with Adam Calhoun, which is what put him on my radar. So all these guys, Chris Webby reached out not too long ago, said great reaction. Thanks, guys. When we were doing a Chris Webby reaction, it's been a cool reception. And we want to continue that. So we're going to do a lot more of these reactions. And guys, listen, if you like hanging out, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. I don't have a particular line that I won't cross in saying what I believe, think, and feel. So just keep in mind that when we say unfiltered, uncensored, we actually mean that. and we're going to tell you the truth and let the chips fall where they may. And I think so. Basically, what Tom is to rapping, that's what we are to podcasting. So that's why it's such a good fit. And one day, maybe, who knows, get Tom on the podcast. That would be awesome. Love to talk to this dude, man. I would absolutely love to talk to this dude. It's close. It's easier to get close to Donald Trump than it is to Tom for some reason.
I'm not surprised.
I can get a message to the Trump administration. I cannot get a message to Tom.
It'd be cool to see Tom on the network.
It would be very, very cool. I think we'd get along just fine. We'd have an amazing conversation. But let's go ahead and jump into it. He's doing this song. It's him and Adam Calhoun, and the song is called Your America. So obviously it's not my America, our America. He obviously threw that word Your America in there for some reason. So let's see what it is. Here we go.
They're screaming that they hate America and we're the reason. If you don't feel safe, then stop defunding the policemen. You calling us extremists because our words have hurt your feelings, and we're sorry we can't hear you over the sound of our freedom. Y'all been filling up.
Okay.
He doesn't throttle into it. He just goes. He's already full throttle right at the get go.
Hold up, wait. You usually hit like this a metaphor, and it's like a punchline at the end, which ties the bar together. He just goes right into it, and then you don't even realize it. What was it that I wanted to speak on? He just said 5 different things. Here, let's go back just for a second.
If you don't feel safe, then stop defunding the policemen. You calling us extremists because our words have hurt your feelings, and we're sorry we can't hear you over the sound of our freedom. Y'all.
Listen, they started that defund the police movement, which was for one reason and one reason only, right? So it was said to be done in order to, because it was the over policing was affecting the Black community, but it really wasn't just the Black community. It was just the impoverished community. That's why the disparities between people who have money and people who don't, which is the real separation between people. It's really not the tone of our skin. It's culture, and culture most of the time is determined by social class. So you have in the more impoverished areas in the country, like the one I grew up in Baltimore, where the police are going to be there more. You're going to interact with them more because guess what, guys? There's more crime. Can you believe it? So there's not a disparity between the upper echelon of America and the lower as far as policing. It's just that people in Beverly Hills are not holding each other up at gunpoint and breaking into each other's homes. Yep. and that sort of thing. There, your neighbor next to you with the 16-room mansion is not selling dope. It's so there is it depends on, I think, how you transcribe or how you translate those demographics and how you present them. And you can tell the truth, but in a very dishonest way to make it sound like, oh, I'm telling you the facts, but because I don't tell you the whole truth and only tell you certain facts, it makes it sound like what I'm saying is true, when in fact, it's bullshit.
And case in point, the Pete Hegseth at the 9/11 memorial in his so-called underwear. Did you catch that?
Yeah, after he had slammed that thing, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell the whole story, yeah.
They never did.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
They never. Go ahead.
Been filling up our classrooms with drag queens for kids. We think it's not appropriate, you tell us that it is. The complexities of gender and children won't ever mix when there's school shootings by women whose pronouns are him, his. I'm not.
Oof. There goes YouTube.
Oh, bro. All right.
Yeah.
Where to begin? They're 1% of our population, right? Agreed? Everybody understands that. That's the demographic. So 1% always has grown over year, and 1% or less growth within that demographic. But in the last few years, only in the last few years, has that demographic started growing by 5+% year over year from that 1%. Not 5% of the population, guys. That's not the math. That's not how it works.
Growing at that
So
rate.
it's growing at that rate within its own particular demographic. So what is the difference between now and then? Indoctrination.
Yep.
Indoctrination. The schools have gotten involved in, we could say grooming. A lot of people use the term grooming, indoctrination, but it's exacerbating issues that would not be issues for kids had they not made them issues. My grandson wanted to be Spider-Man, bro. And you just give him enough time and he'll grow out of wanting to be Spider-Man. But if you tell him he's really Spider-Man and then start teaching him how to climb walls at 10 and really tell him that he is and all that, next thing you know, he's hurting himself by jumping off a building because his web don't work. So it's
right.
If you leave these people alone, these kids alone that believe these things for nature to take its natural course, they may grow up to just be gay dudes, right? Or they may grow up to just be normal, everyday heterosexual folks. And yes, I said normal, not that gay people are normal. What I say by normal is what norm means more than 50% of the population. So yes, heterosexual people are the norm because we make up more than 50% of the population. Everything you say, you have to define it because someone's triggered. But the reality of it is, yes, that's the truth. If you leave people alone to grow at their own pace, and you just tell them what's true and what's not, we can prevent a lot of this. Look, the Nashville shooter was trans in the trans community. The one in Philadelphia, the nightclub in Miami where you were at was trans. There's if you look back over the last, I want to say 7 years or more, you will find so many of all these mass school shootings occurred by people in that community. And we're still talking about less than 1% of the demographic of the United States. So how is it that such a small demographic of the United States is responsible for so much death and disparity? And why is their suicide rate over 40% at the same time?
Illness, mental illness.
And when you don't treat mental illness, what happens to it?
It grows.
It gets worse. And then if you tell a person who is mentally ill that they're not, and what they believe is real, and that everybody who disagrees with the fact that it's real is actually evil, what you get is the school shootings that have occurred that you see happening, where the people that got the brunt of the mainstream media and these communities turn against them weren't mad about the kids being hurt in these situations. They were mad because we dead named them. That was what they were pissed off about, because we used their real names when they passed on versus the name they chose for themselves, which was the crux of the situation and the catalyst that caused the problem to begin with, which was the problem that they had that wasn't treated because people cared more about their feelings than telling them they needed help.
Yep.
I don't know how much clearer I can say it than that. All right, let's back it up 2 seconds so we don't miss nothing.
When there's school shootings by women whose pronouns are him, his, I'm not Republican, but keep it 100, they making sense. The most destructive ideologies are coming from the left. I think Black Lives Matter, they think white lives matter less. And LGBTQ turned into WTF. Dear Democrats, I don't have nothing against the liberal, but the people representing you are communists and criminals. They've been starting World War III, we shipping missiles still. They don't want America great, they want it miserable. You can
And that's a year ago. I think came out a year ago.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Today, man.
He has ESP because they are trying to do that right now with allowing Ukraine to shoot long-range missiles into Russia, after they lost the election. He said there would be no way in hell that he would allow that before he lost the election. Now all of a sudden he says it's go time. And now, the drones and all the other mess, and is it Iran? Isn't it Iran? Is it us? They won't say. And as far as the rest of it goes, the Democrat and Republican Party used to be, or at least it would have the appearance of being, two different political parties that had the same goal to where we were going, freedom in America, but we just had two different ways of getting there. They had their beliefs on how we achieved that goal, and the right had their beliefs on how we achieved that goal. That's not the case anymore today. They are extreme today. That their ideas are dangerous. I'm not even going to mince words. They're dangerous. Did you hear the one where the volleyball player that didn't want to compete against guys had her own teammates set her up so that the trans person on the opposing team would have a clear shot to spike the ball at her? And this was after the other female got hurt pretty bad by that happening. And it's just, adopt our values or else. Threats being made to people if you try to stop them from using the restroom of their choice. But my question is this: why don't I see women in the men's room? Why don't I see women trying to compete in the NBA? Why don't I see women trying to get into the octagon in the UFC with dudes? Why isn't it the other way around? Why is it always the men wanting to come over and compete against the women? I have my theories, but what's yours?
It's the California agenda. The whole normalize. I mean, look, they want to change the way we refer to pedophiles as maps.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole normalizing the curve in society, and you pile on tolerance, and look where you end up.
False compassion.
Right.
False compassion has gotten us in a lot of trouble.
And now, unfortunately, it's worldwide, but it wouldn't survive in the Middle East. I'll tell you that.
Well, tell queers for Palestine that.
Yeah, they ain't figured it out yet. They haven't gotten their one-way ticket.
And so, because you ain't coming back.
Yeah.
You ain't coming back. Here we go. Wait, all of these things can lead down rabbit holes that can take a long time to really delve into. Because we're going to try to
still. They don't want America great, they want it miserable. You can try to burn down the city, scream at the top of your lungs till you're dizzy. You can cancel everything and everybody in it, but it's not your America. You can burn the flag, get aggressive. You can wear a mask and pretend you're progressive. I got my First Amendment, don't forget I got the second. It's not your America. I'm hearing words I never heard in life.
Hold up, before I go on, that hook, he said you can wear a mask and pretend that you're progressive. How many people on the left, how many videos that I've seen out there where you get people who don't understand the movement at all, but they want to be a part of it so bad that they just go put on a mask. They're out there yelling from the river to the sea. And you're like, hey, what river and what sea are you talking about? And they don't know. They don't know. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know why they're fighting for it. They don't understand why it's wrong. They're just told that we're all bad. We're all homophobic. We're all racist. We're all bigots. We're all transphobes. We're all these things. But we're really not at all, because what we're fighting for is their freedom, and they don't even realize we're fighting for their freedom. But I would say this, and tell me if you would agree or not. If you have somebody with the same Judeo-Christian principles this country was founded on in power, the fringe elements, which is what we're referring to here by trans, LGBTQ, all the fringe elements, because they're a small minority of our population, they would still have the freedom to be and do what they do, because we would never force them to think, feel, and believe the way that we do. But what we would do is protect our rights and our social norms, meaning our bathrooms, locker rooms, Title IX for sports, things like that. But we would never prevent them from being LGBTQ, trans. We would never intervene and make their social lives illegal. Like, that would be the furthest thing from what we would do. But let me ask you, if they were the ones in control and they had ultimate power, both houses, Senate, Congress, presidency, all of that, do you think they would be as tolerant to us?
No. Well, no. I mean, just
And
because you're on the right. Just because you're on the right. Yeah, I mean, look at the J6ers and the rioters, you know, so we already know they're not.
Yeah, and they weren't.
I like his hook that he don't forget he's got he's got his First Amendment, but don't forget he's got the second too.
Yeah.
That's the I think there's the powerful one coming from Adam in this part.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a good reason, because if we don't got the second, believe me, the first ain't far behind.
Nope.
I never heard in life, kids go to school to learn, never make it back home, they get I'm hearing words I never heard in life, kids go to school to learn, never make it back home, they get murdered like, who's concerned, not the left or the right, hope you ready for the fight, coming to your front door tonight, the former president got arrested, the current one lost, but I guess he got elected, kids get molested.
Did he just say what I think he said?
Oh yeah.
The current boss, but he still got elected.
Yep.
Ooh. You know, there's so much more coming out about that now, but I won't get into the crux of it to get us in trouble on every platform. But I'll say this. The meta platforms, right? The meta platforms, Mark Zuckerberg said this out of his mouth. All right. So I'm just trying to say this before, certain platforms take what I'm saying and get mad at me and want to give me a strike or something, because I'm just telling you what was said. He said that he was told that he had to censor the laptop information. He was told his platform was threatened that he had to. That's what he said. So if that's true, then 33% of the people polled after the election said they would have voted a different way if they would have known that the laptop story was real. So let's not talk about like people switching votes and all that kind of stuff. Like that's not what I'm talking about. Even forget all that. Just go based off of this alone. Just the laptop story. Just the exit polling and the data that was retrieved after. That 33% of those people, if they would have not voted for Joe Biden because they knew that laptop story was real, then we wouldn't have lived this last 4 years. But I tell you what, I think the last 4 years is a blessing, and I think you understand why. But why do you think?
I believe you're right. I think Trump had to lose for us to know what we know today.
Thank you, brother.
I believe it was part of the grander scheme in the game of 4D chess that the commander-in-chief has been a victim of, but I don't believe he is as ignorant as most of the country would believe.
No, not even close. To make the kind of deals that he's made in his life and get to the level operating to the level that he does in his life and not understand, life, right? Everybody says, well, he inherited the money that he's got. His father gave him $2 million, $2.5 million, I think, right? But now he's a billionaire. Right. So there's people that hit the lottery all the time and get a couple $1 million. And
here's the difference. He's going in already a billionaire, where you have people like Pelosi and Schumer and some of the other ones who go in less than $1 million in the bank and come out 20, 30 million later.
Exactly right. And trust me, like I said, there are people that win, millions of dollars in a lottery and come see them 5 years from now and they're broke. Trump is now a billionaire and he has properties worldwide and still doing big things. So, not a dummy by any stretch of the imagination or any of those other things they like to call him. But, there's I could take that to a whole lot of places too, but let's keep on going.
But I guess he got elected, kids get molested, pedophiles all get protected, and you can kill a baby anytime if you're pregnant. People so weak, feel free to take a knee.
Dude, I gotta hear that again. I gotta hear that. I mean, my God, dude.
Pedophiles all get protected, and you can kill a baby anytime if you're pregnant.
I'm gonna say this. Everything I'm saying right now is from a Christian perspective. It's my religious right to believe what I believe. Life is sacred. And they made a novelty out of taking the life of an unborn human being child at the DNC by having vans staged out front. And they were celebrating. There is a difference between, somebody being put between a rock and a hard place and having to make the hardest decision they ever had to make in their life because they just can't see being a mom or a dad for whatever reason, right? I'm not going to delve into that, but for whatever reason, this decision to make this kind of decision used to be shameful. And you would keep it secret, and it would be very shameful. It'd be like a dark family secret that would never get spoken of ever again, and it would be shameful. Today, they celebrate it. It's funny. They wear shirts. They make videos saying, I'm on my 30th, whatever. You know what I mean? It's so damn demonic and so wrong. Even if you believe that if you're a pro-choice person and you believe this, there's still at least a decency line that you should have to where you're not out there celebrating it and putting it in everyone's face and laughing that a life that had potential is cut short because of your irresponsibility.
I would say the best thing that came out of that whole little glitch in the matrix is the vasectomy buses. So, I mean, if we're going to go ahead and let's avoid the abortion first and let's castrate the beta males.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, if you're going to do some preventative stuff, I'd rather do the preventative than I would have them go in and extinguish a life. Right. So when all these 4B people started shaving their heads saying, I'm not having no babies. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, please.
So what you're doing is saying, okay, you're going to protest by shaving your head and not having sex so you don't get pregnant to have a baby that you're not going to have anyway because you would abort it. Is that right? Am I getting it? Come on, man. These people, they belong, every one of them belong in Mensa. They're just geniuses.
People so weak, feel free to take a knee. And you can't even speak, God forbid you disagree. I don't even know what virtual signaling means. Young men used to fight wars, now they make memes. Divide us up, I'm pretty sure that's the plan. Got a gun in my hand for when shit hits the fan. And how the woman...
He said young men used to fight wars, now they make memes. Keyboard warriors, Mike. You ever ran across any of those?
Yes. They're in the comment section.
They're keyboard warriors. I catch, my fair share sometimes. And, it's funny because a lot of times people will, at first glance, they look and they see, 40-something-year-old white dude with glasses. And what they don't realize is that the energy that I have right here, right now, is the same energy I have every day, every place, no matter where I'm at. I've done been through so much in my life, from prison to growing up in the inner cities of Baltimore to being the person that I'm bitching about right now. I used to be him, right? Until I grew up and I figured some things out and I stopped making excuses. And so I'm not the person, trust me, that you want to run up on and start acting stupid and do those types of things to. It's not going to work out the way you think it is. And, these kids that are out here inciting all this violence online by putting things on there that they know they're just doing for clout and clicks, but they don't really mean it, and they're causing problems. Instead of actually going outside of the house and doing something about it. We're going all over the place, bro. I mean, I'm gonna be back east twice within the next couple of months. I'm going over to Arizona in a few weeks. And I work with Hope for Prisoners, is a program out here to prevent recidivism. And any chance that I get to help someone get a job when they get out of those hard spots to get their life straight, I'm there to help them. I'm talking to kids that are in dangerous areas, trying to come up and better their lives so they don't continue this cyclical thing of prison like their fathers. There's a lot of stuff that I do that I'm involved in to try to better my community and whatnot like that. I don't armchair quarterback. I'm involved. And that's what I would tell everybody else to do too. Don't just get on here and bitch about it, talk about it, and tell other people to do it. But you're responsible for your community, your family, your city, your everything. You're responsible because there's a part you can play in making things better, because the left actively will take part in trying to make it worse. They're good at that.
Agreed.
How are things down there where you're at?
I live in Florida, and it's like walking in the tall grass. Watch where you step, because you can call Florida red all you want, but really it's purple. Deep, just under the layer of what we deal with politically and culturally, it's really a layer of purple and blue in half of your elected officials around here. Your policymakers, school boards, and stuff like that. I mean, how else are you going to get a job in a red town? You got to play the part, and I feel like I might be running off course here, but I feel like the cultural part of it bleeds in. We see it in our school boards here in conservative county here in Florida, and people don't pay attention enough.
Yeah. I mean, listen, guys, you have the ability to run for school board. You have the ability to get on those county supervisor boards, city council boards, and they have a lot of power. They have a lot of power. Get involved. Get involved. That's all I can say is get involved.
That's where they make their connections. And before you know it, they're making decisions about your kids going to war or making memes, or getting transgender treatments, hormone treatments while in our military.
How do you think that all these, the values and all that got into the classroom to the point where teachers are not teaching, but what they're doing is indoctrinating your kid with their form of social justice? How do you think that occurred? It didn't happen at the presidential level. It didn't happen it didn't happen at the mayoral level. It happened in the school board and in the city council and places like that. That's where it happened. And that's where you can affect change, because that's where you need to be. So be the change you want to see. That's all I can say.
And how the woman of the year is a man. I'm pretty sure I never really understand.
Hold up. I missed something. There we go.
And how the woman of the year is a man. I'm to fight wars, now they make memes. Divide us up, I'm pretty sure that's the plan. Got a gun in my hand for when shit hits the fan. And how the woman of the year is a man. I'm pretty sure I never really understand. You can try to burn down the city, scream at the top of your lungs till you're dizzy. You can cancel everything and everybody in it, but it's not your America. You can burn the flag, get aggressive. You can wear a mask and pretend you're progressive. I got my First Amendment, don't forget I got the second. It's not your America. You told us we're the ones to blame. You're the ones who riot till the city's up in flames. You told us we've been spreading lies, but you believe the truth is on the news every night. You told us we gotta stop the fighting, but you're the ones who keep the country angry and divided. You told us we're crazier than you, but all of our conspiracy theories are coming true. You can try to
hold up, he ain't wrong.
No,
the difference between conspiracy. What is that?
Yeah, because he's right. Because they've been blaming the right for creating hate and division in America, and
Yep.
it's complete opposite. They're festering. They're focusing in on the division and where the fights are, and they're making it worse. Tom MacDonald nailed it in that verse.
I think that what the left doesn't like is a standard of normalcy. And what they call freedom is really just anarchy. They don't want you to stand for anything. They want to be able to have a world where there are no standards whatsoever. Anything you do is right. It's moral relativism. So there's your truth and my truth instead of the truth. You know what I mean? So that's what they do. I mean, Don Lemon said it when he back at CNN. I'm going to tell my truth and not the truth. And there's a big difference because journalism used to be just telling the truth and letting you make up your mind. I'm just going to report the facts and let you make up your mind. But some time ago, we had this guy that got elected, that got rid of the law that kept it to where the news reporters and the news stations had to meet certain standards for truth, and that was removed under Obama. And the Smith-Mundt Act, and later what they called the Fairness Doctrine as well, kept it to where now that the news media can literally put out propaganda and lies, and that's okay. They're not fined by the FCC. They keep their FCC license. They can still tell you the news they want to, unless they're Alex Jones. If they're right. Alex Jones, then you can't do that. Then they want to shut you up. They want to take your license. They want to steal your studio. They want to do all of that. So yeah, I mean, there's rules for me, rules for the. James O'Keefe did an amazing piece of CNN. We got the technical producer to admit that they knew that the Russia collusion stuff was all a hoax, but he said it was good ratings. So that to me is a form of election interference when you know that what you're saying is going to make or could change the outcome of an election because you're knowingly reporting lies, but you're still doing it, but you're never held accountable. So there's that. And this was the main station yelling the whole Russian hoax thing every day for the reason that they said Russia was influencing our elections. Meanwhile, they are doing exactly what they're blaming Russia for doing, which is putting out propaganda. It's sick, bro. It's sick. And I can't wait for January. I can't wait for January. It can't get here fast enough. I cannot wait. But yeah, I love when these two pair up. When these two pair up, you're getting ready to hear some really cool stuff.
Theories are coming true. You can try to burn down the city, scream at the top of your lungs till you're dizzy. You can cancel everything and everybody in it, but it's not your America. You can burn the flag, get aggressive. You can wear a mask and pretend you're progressive. I got my First Amendment, don't forget I got the second. It's not your America.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. I my overall comment on everything we see culturally, I think, is contradicting because, I mean, ultimately, I feel like the deep state or the establishment, whether it be national or international, I feel like they would prefer us to be more like 1984, George Orwell's 1984. And all of this cultural stuff you see playing out is just the psyop to break us down. We're breaking down the norms, like you said. They don't anything normal, it's not. They want to.
It's oppressive.
Water it down. Yeah.
All the things that we used to call norm have to be bad. Anything we were has to be considered to be bad in order for them to tear it down and change it, because you can't rebuild a house until you burn it to the ground. So that's what they're trying to do. They are trying to burn this place to the ground, so from the ashes they can step in. Check it out. If you mess up the food supply and you mess up, I'm just hypothetically, right? If you get it to a point where there are no jobs, the economy is so bad, people are starving in the streets, then guess who comes to the rescue? The government.
Right.
And when they come to the rescue, that doesn't come for free. They're going to tell you, well, you got to give up this right and that right and that right so we can protect you. Everybody remembers the Patriot Act, Victory Act, Patriot Act 2, the NDAA. All of these things took rights away from Americans.
Yep.
And they didn't even realize how many of their rights got taken away. Like, most of us are so uneducated on how un-American a lot of the laws that got passed during those particular things that took place are. That's why a lot of people threw the Patriot Act out. A lot of people got rid of it because of the warrantless wiretaps, just crazy amounts of invasions of privacy with things like 702 that we used to only spy on foreigners, foreigners in the United States, but they were using it to go after regular American citizens. And they justified it, and then they lied about it in front of Congress. But we're just not educated. Right?
Snowden for it.
Yeah. They're. I mean, just like they did Julian Assange. You prosecute the people who are telling the truth instead of the people to whom they're telling the truth on. How does that work?
Right.
I mean,
2 + 2
it's
is
really
5. Don't forget.
There are how many lights are there? There are 4 lights. No, there are 3. There are 4 lights. That's why they all say the same things over and over and over again in the media.
Yep.
It's what we call the Mockingbird media. Remember Project Mockingbird? No way in hell that thing is still not in effect. What you saw Matt Taibbi uncover in Twitter files where they were basically controlling the narrative, because that's where America's conversation takes place, like it or not, is on X now. That's where it is. And so if you are able to control that by saying, I'm going to shut down everybody who has a specific perspective, and then the ones who have the perspective I like, I'm going to enhance their reach and their ability to get their word out, I can basically affect the way that America thinks and feels. And that's what they were trying to do. And kicking Donald Trump off of Twitter was the biggest threat to freedom and free speech that I have ever seen in the entire history of the United States. And that was a big warning sign, dude. And that was why what Elon Musk did was so necessary. It's so historic, brother. Historic.
I think there's more to it too. I think we're going to see more to those Twitter files. I don't think they're gone yet. And I think Elon is where he is today because he wants to release it all. If you remember when Matt Taibbi did the Twitter files, him and Elon supposedly had a falling out.
Yeah, they had a falling out. Yeah, he wanted to do more.
He wanted
to
release
for 2 things. He wanted to report them on his Substack and not just on Twitter, and they got into it over that. And I guess there was some more they wanted to release.
Yeah, so
there's a time and a place for everything. And I'm not saying that I know Elon personally, right? I don't. Yeah. None of us do, right? But everything that I can judge him for based off of the things that we know for certain, I can't judge him unfairly on. Everything that I've seen him do. You seen that UFC fighter? I forget his name with the blonde hair. Ultra American. Ultra American dude. Typically, he was on Joe Rogan. He had a lot of cool things to say, and I liked him. But then I heard him go off on Joe Rogan. Like, you have no idea that you think that this billionaire has everyone's best interest at heart. And it's like, okay, so you don't like him because he's rich? That don't make any sense. Like, when do we start penalizing people in this country for doing well? But that's what the left does. That's not what the people on the right do. You know, right. if you make a lot of money and you did well in your life, good for you, brother. More power to you. Yeah. I just, it's so unfair that we have a progressive tax system that penalizes people for doing well. And they say, well, the top 1% don't pay any tax. Bullshit. Do you know the top 1% of the people in this country pay over 45% of all the taxes in the country? So how is it that 1% of the population pay over almost half of all the taxes in the entire country? If you make $70,000 a year, Mike, $70,000, you will bring home more money in cash than if you made 80.
Yeah.
Because of your tax bracket.
Yep.
What we need to see in this country is a fair tax across the board, a straight 10% or whatever it is. And the other thing is, stop sending our money to foreign countries. You talk about all this infrastructure and all the shit we need here in this one. Well, dude, like the Bible says, you know, before you go try to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye, take the plank out of your own. Joe Biden just went over to Angola and gave them $1 billion for displaced people in floods. Right down there in your area of North Carolina and Florida, we have people whose homes are destroyed. They're taking their kids away because they can't provide a safe, healthy place for the kids to live. So here comes CPS taking their kids away, and we can't give them no more money. $750 loans, not even grants, loans. I mean, they got to pay it back. But you just went to Angola and gave them $1 billion, and you said, I don't know how many billions to Ukraine. Well, when it comes to your own people, this is how you treat them. You put immigrants up in 4-star hotels, and you treat your own people like shit, and they're living in second-class tents. Come on, man. This shit ain't right, and it's got to change, and that's why he's not president no more. Everybody wants to know, can't figure out why he didn't get elected, why the left, they're not still in power. Come on, dude. There's no way you can't know why. There's no way you can't know why.
I think they took their ignorant base for granted and thought they were even more ignorant than they were.
The Democrats, there were a lot of Democrats who voted for Trump. This is the what Trump calls the unity party. You have RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. You have people who were never seen as conservative ever. And there, remember, Joe Rogan is not a Republican.
I mean, at this point, it's more like the common sense party.
It's the communist against the non-communist.
Yes.
That's what it is. And that's really what it is. We were so worried in the 70s and the 60s, even the 50s, of a communist uprising in America. We were like really looking out forward. We're arresting people all the way up into the 60s for being communists. We were really trying to stop this growing threat of communism. Now we elect them.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, forever. This is an easy conversation to carry on forever, for real. Mike, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
I'm good. I'm ready to eat this ribeye and go to bed.
Oh, you got ribeyes?
Yeah, I'm home alone this weekend, so.
I want a ribeye. So I got me a big old brisket, 30 pounds, bro. Oh, nice. 30 pounds, big old thick one. And I'm ready to throw that thing on a smoker tomorrow, I think. So, guys, thank you so much for hanging out, right? If you're Patriots like we are, check out PPN. We're at thepatriotsprayer.com. We're going to be at CPAC, AmFest, the inauguration. We're all over the place. We have a lot of people that are, supporting us. If you're just hearing about us for the first time and you're click that like, follow, subscribe button, share the content, leave a comment. Welcome to the family, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out and leave us a comment. If not for anything, just to say hello. Those comments make the videos climb up in the algorithm and they help us out so much. Thank you, guys. God bless you. God bless America. And the silent majority, you got to stop being silent. Start standing your ground. We'll see you next time on the Patriots Prayer, guys. Have a great day.
Welcome to the Patriots Prayer Network. Here, we don't just play to your feelings. We're rooted in honesty, and our foundation is based on Christian values, conservative beliefs, and a no-holds-barred approach. So, if your feelings clash with reality, it's not reality that needs adjusting. Are you ready to be part of a movement that challenges the official narratives, confronts the overwhelming tide of misinformation, and calls out wrongdoing wherever we find it? If so, you're in the right place. See, truth is our compass, and God is our only judge. Right and wrong mean more to us here at the Patriots Prayer Network than right and left do, and a complacent blind acceptance of the status quo will not be found here. We do not believe things are this bad in our country merely by accident. So, we investigate and dive deep into each episode and tackle pressing issues head on. Many podcasts claim they're unfiltered, but we mean it here. Go to thepatriotsprayernetwork.com